Well, Moira and I met about 25 years ago. We had actually met in Halifax. I was there in the summer. I was going to Juilliard, and she was dancing. And when I went back to New York, Moira continued to dance, but had some problems with her foot. She had some lingering problems, but it ultimately led to her not being able to dance. And so she actually was introduced to the Pilates method of exercise through the Dancer Transition Center in Toronto. And so she had a great desire to go and to learn this method of exercise because it had worked a lot with dancers. And so being able to take the love of dance and also a quest and a desire to help others get from an injured state to a state where they could go back onto the stage was I think a big desire of yours.
Yeah.
And you spent a number of years in New York, a couple of years in New York, learning this method of exercise. And so when we came back to Toronto, you know, there was really no one at that time, doing Pilates in a significant way. I mean, in fact, throughout the world, there really wasn't a lot of Pilates taking place. I mean, this method of exercise had really been devised by Joseph Pilates and passed on to many others, but I mean, you have to sort of remember that, I mean, Joe Pilates died when he was, I believe, 87 and had, a small sort of 750 square foot walk up in New York. And so it wasn't a booming business by any means. It really only became fairly popular when it hit the fitness industry. I mean, the fitness industry sort of took it and made it sort of more of the mainstream. Right, the mainstream fitness community really made it more known within the public, and I think that gave not just us but many people an opportunity to build businesses, to build opportunities, to really professionalize this method of exercise. Moira has a great understanding of this method of exercise in its original form, but I think she believes that it was necessary to take it from what it was to something that was a little bit more refined, something that was a little bit more digestible, something that was also teachable. It was always this very secretive society, the Pilates method of exercise.
Yeah, passed on by people, they learned from the person before them. And you took notes from your teacher, and that's how you went and you taught. I mean, and that's how Pilates passed it on.
Right, you're sort of like at the foot of the master.
Yes.
But the thing is that what we wanted to do is we actually wanted to take what was great about the method of exercise, also capturing what Moira understood in her own sense of what was right, and also the one thing that Moira did, I think, that was great was also sort of open it up to other professionals, others that could actually take a look at it and say, well, you know what, if it was done in this particular way, it might be more effective.
Just to try to keep it, we wanted to make sure that we were keeping up with the latest research. Also, the way we train athletes now versus, back in the 20s, things have changed. So we wanted to evolve it and make sure we were on top of all that.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to remember, Joseph Pilates was a bit of a mad scientist.
Yeah. Very creative.
A man that was truly ahead of his time, but someone that had a very, strict and very precise view of the world. And so, I think that what he did is he inspired a wonderful method of exercise. But I think there have been people throughout the years that have actually taken, the foundation of his work and sort of brought a little bit of what we know today about the body. And that sort of allows, I think that allowed for it to grow and to prosper.
To evolve, and I'm sure he would have done the same thing. It needed to evolve, as physiotherapy through the years has needed to evolve.
Our contribution, we felt that it was important to structure a training program to allow instructors to learn this method of exercise and to go out and to teach it. And in some cases, they teach for others. In some cases, they teach for themselves. For some of them, it's a business. For others, it's a passion. It's a labor of love. But from our perspective, we've always felt that it was really important to try to add professional value to the instructors' lives, to enhance their ability to make a living and to do what they love to do. one particular piece, the reformer, which most people are familiar with. That was a bit of a challenge for us.
Yes.
I mean, it was actually acted as our dining room table for a number of years, many of the prototypes. I mean, it was...
As it evolved.
It was a big part of our life, actually. But the one thing that I do remember quite vividly was the time that we felt that we'd actually had this one piece of equipment that we had thought would make a bit of a splash in the Pilates community. And so what we did is we actually took the prototype and disassembled it and put it into little boxes because it was the cheapest way to send it to Los Angeles.
Right.
And then what we did is once it got to Los Angeles, we rented this little hotel suite. And we had previously, we invited, I don't know, about 100 people that we were sort of in some way connected with distantly, but that they would like to come and see this. And so this weekend in this small little suite in Los Angeles, we put this reformer back together, and I would say probably 50 or 60 people came through that door that weekend. And all of a sudden it seemed to us that we were now in the equipment business.
Up until then, a lot of equipment that we could get access to, or it was difficult to get access to it in the beginning, but it's one size. And of course, Lindsay being quite a bit taller than me, you know, we'd go through and he just wouldn't feel it the same way. And so he had a passion to evolve this equipment so that, you know, we could both feel it the same way. So there was a tremendous amount of adjustability that you'd put into this, which had taken a lot of trial and error, but people really appreciated that. I think when they got on there, it was, you know, a different feel and a lot more adjustability and very smooth, and they liked it. They liked the feel.
Yeah. One of our goals would be to make this method of exercise more accessible to people. I mean, interestingly enough, I mean, I think one of the things that we find challenging is as you introduce this into health clubs. I mean, health clubs have a certain particular model that they want any of their exercise regimes to sort of fit into, and the group environment, for example, is one that the fitness community is very accustomed to.
Yes.
And so taking something that has been predominantly done on a one-to-one basis or done in small group classes and then try to make it fit into a group setting is sometimes challenging. And so for us, it's like I often think of it as being the Pilates community and the fitness community in some ways colliding, and who will win. You know, I think that we can all win, but I mean, I think there's a little bit of struggle that's taking place.
Because we want to maintain the standards. It's important that we maintain the standards, but then on the other hand, if we don't train enough teachers, then, you know, the Pilates will start to just become more difficult for people to get access to.
Well, I think that's one of the most, that is the largest challenge, and that is trying to get enough qualified instructors. I mean, health clubs are always finding that they're interested, they're told their members want it, but what happens is they don't have access to the instructors, and that's always tough. And so from our perspective, you know, I mean, I think that's really one of the sweet spots of the company, and that is, you know, having put together under your leadership a great training program. I mean, we have trained in excess of 13,000 instructors around the world today, which is, you know, quite an accomplishment. And I think that if we are to continue to grow at the rate that we're growing, you know, that will be a fairly impressive number. But that number really will only help to build and to strengthen the foundation of what's been established, and not only by us, but by many others. There's lots of other training programs around as well. And so, I mean, from our perspective, you know, building this, you know, sometimes I guess you feel a bit like a pioneer. You know, you are helping to build the foundation of something that is wonderful. I mean, you know, Joe Pilates inspired something that was quite significant. You know, and I think, as you said earlier, you know, if he was alive today, I'm sure that what he would be doing is, you know, taking all of these new ideas, these new thoughts, and trying to incorporate it into what he does.
Yes.
So in some ways, it's just sort of a passing of a torch.
One of our mandates in the beginning was to document everything, every breath, and hence we developed the manuals with a very strong team. And the DVDs have evolved from just trying to make it easier for people to train. because for a long time, as we said before, it wasn't documented.
No.
So it was very difficult to pass it on. So the more we can come up with the teaching tools to get the instructors out there, the more successful hopefully the instructors will be.
Well, I mean, the DVDs have acted as a wonderful way of being able to take information and pass that information on to others. Especially, I mean, we live in a very global community, and many of the instructors I mentioned in excess of 13,000. I mean, they come from all over the world. I would say that we have instructors, I think it's in 30 different countries today. Yeah. Which is, I guess it's just a sort of a testament to the interest of this method of exercise around the world. And I think that also presents a bit of a challenge too, because for us, I think that if you go into somebody else's country and want to do business, you also have to communicate in their language. Yes. And so, you have to find ways of being able to translate the material. I guess there's really four pillars to our business. There's the equipment company, there's the education company, and then there is the studio component of our business. And also, we've actually entered into the retail business as well. And these are all very synergistic in nature. They all support one another. But I would say that our primary goal is to really add professional value to the instructors that we work with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. Either through ourselves, the instructors that you have working directly with you, or through the licensed training centers. I mean, that's something we've not really spent much time talking about. The licensed training centers, they are a relationship that we covet. We have they're very, very, very important to our world. Essentially, what a licensed training center is where they actually train many of the instructors. I said earlier that we actually have in excess of 13,000 trained instructors around the world today. Well, a lot of those trained instructors go to licensed training centers. And so that's a really important part of what we do.
Well, I think it has, it evolved from, the original method of exercise that Joseph Pilates pioneered. And then, we originally started working with, physical therapists, physiotherapists, to just make sure that it was more in keeping with current research and how we were dealing with injuries. So, we very much brought into that whole philosophy of stabilizing from, the inside out, which Pilates always did, but really being very focused on our local stabilizers right out through the global stabilizers. And then through time, always making sure that, if we were starting to evolve it and work more with athletes, dancers, that we were consulting with people that were training with them on a regular basis. So we weren't guessing what they needed. We were really getting right in there and evolving the different approaches to make it very specific to each individual's needs. And we have a fantastic team out there that we do work with and are very thankful that they're aboard with us to help us make sure that we're on top of all these separate areas.
The one area which we have a particular interest in, too, actually, and one is sports-specific programming and also in rehabilitative programming. And both of those approaches are slightly different. So it's really important for us to actually look outside of our world to the experts that are out there that can help us complement. We often like to think that what we do dovetails nicely with other things, and so it's important to go out there and seek expert advice in that area.
Yes, so that we always, in our training philosophy, we always train the instructor. They all learn those strong fundamentals to begin with. So they're all doing the same course to begin with, but then as they go out into the field and maybe get more interested in different areas, rehab versus sports specific, that they're actually speaking the same language. And what we're really trying to do is promote that continuing education to help them go out there and specialize if they choose, but make sure when they specialize that they really are getting the tools that are essential for that particular area that they're going into. During that career, I was plagued with this injury and always had to stop after the season was over, and take time off, and then madly try to get back in shape, and compensated a lot, and was always sort of, after I stopped, interested in trying to put something together for the dancer, because at that time there was no conditioning for dancers. We didn't want to build bulk, so you got back and you just compensated until you get back on stage, and that was the only way you got a paycheck, and so you couldn't take time off. So I was very interested in that area between finishing physiotherapy and getting back on stage, and was told by the Dancer Transition Center in Canada of this method of exercise, Pilates, that just might be interesting. And of course, Lindsay was in New York at that time, so it sounded even more attractive. So I went down, and I do remember walking into, it was Romana Krauzeneska's studio in New York, and seeing all this plumbing and scary-looking equipment, and going, ooh, I really wanted to turn around and flee. But because I really wanted also to do something else with my life and didn't really know what to do, I did take that first class with Romana and kind of walked out going, did I feel it? Sort of quite a usual reaction for some people. But went back the next day, and gradually did start to really fall in love with it, and it did feel great, because a lot of the movements, were very familiar to me as a dancer, and I think that really helped me get through that big transition from the stage to not being on the stage, and we haven't stopped since.
I think the Pilates method of exercise is obviously a wonderful thing, and I do think that we're very, very fortunate to actually be doing something that enhances people's lives, and the stories that you do hear from people. It's very, very rewarding. Very rewarding.
Yeah.
You do feel that you are contributing to something that's very, very positive. And it varies. It varies, at least from my perspective anyway. It varies from someone simply going, wow, what it is that you do does help me live a healthier life, and that's extremely gratifying.
Yeah, more pain-free, or sometimes it is just feeling better about their body. Sometimes it's someone that's come in with back pain, and a lot of the instructors that get into this business are very caring people. So that combination of the giving and the type of workout that is very beneficial for such a vast array of people. It is wonderful to see some of the goals, right down to club head speed and playing a better game of golf.
Yeah, no, and actually another one of the rewarding things I find is that the instructors, I find, are engaged in this method of exercise for all the right reasons. They want to help people. They want to do good things for other people. And I think that sense of goodness is something that does transfer. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And to be a part of that, I think, is wonderful. So sort of almost vicariously living through other...
Through them, that's right, because they're getting, they're getting that feedback, and it is wonderful, and they get very excited when they get that, yes.
It is. And also, I think, another interesting thing about this journey that we've been on is that we've met lots and lots of people. But it is wonderful to be around people that are so passionate and so high-spirited and so positive about what it is they do. I actually would consider that to be one of the most satisfying aspects of my part of this journey.
Well, and also too that we talk about the instructors, but there's been some incredible people that we've had with our team.
Yes,
right from the very start, that share that same passion. They might not be the instructor; they're behind the scenes. They're either marketers or they're the guys that work on our equipment, and they're all part of the big picture that goes out there to that end reward for everybody. And
I think that's actually very important, Moira. I think that surely it's not just you and I.
Right.
We have been literally surrounded by a lot of really, really great people that are very passionate and very talented, and have made this a meaningful part of their life, and it's humbling actually. That we have been doing this, and we have been a part of their lives, and because it's surely not just us. And I think that anybody that's ever, been involved in a company, they know that it takes, what do they say? It takes takes a village, I think, to raise a child. Well, to raise a company, it takes at least that. Maybe a big city, but it's been fun, and it's been encouraging, and it's been quite a wonderful thing, and I hope to think there's many more chapters too. So it'll be.
Yes, we've been very lucky.
Just another chapter.
Yes. Single leg. So I'm going to go down to 2 springs. And we're going to start just with the one leg bent, ball of the foot onto the bar right under the sit bone. 5 times. We're going to take it away and bring it in. That's it. Just easy. Again, now I'm watching that she's not hiking up on that opposite hip. Good. Now after this one, we're going into the bicycle. The leg extends over the bar. Inhale and exhale. Press it away. 1 and 2. Good. All the time watching that she's not starting to get tension in that upper middle back. So the obliques work just to keep a connection on the rib cage. Good. Ready for the développé after this one. We inhale up, exhale, lower lift. Inhale, flex both feet. Exhale, extend it. Fabulous. Now here the leg only goes as high as she can keep the pelvis neutral. So it's not important to get it back over your head. Our focus is all on torso stability, and then while we're working the leg and really working on that hinge at the hip and working the muscles around the hip joint. Good. One more time. And take it away. Flex and bring it in. Now put the heel on the bar. Good. Is this leg getting worked yet? Let's start leg up here. Flex this foot a little bit, push into my hand and reach it away, making sure it's level. 5 times we press. Now here the tendency is to be pulled a little bit into extension in the lower back and to hike that hip up. Obliques have to work because we tend to want to roll over to the one side. Those deep rotators are working to create that stability on the one leg. And great. Okay. So let's balance you up on the other side. Ball of the foot, making sure it's really the ball of the foot and it's not just the toes, or it's not too low down or your client slips off the bar. 5 times. Take it away. And 1. Again, making sure that we're not rotating one way or another now, that we're on the single leg. Now into the bicycle. Extend it so she only flexes that knee as far as she can keep the pelvis neutral so it's not tucking under. Good. And then into the bicycle. Easy. Good. So if someone's tighter in the hip, you will start to see that whole movement, lateral flexion in the side. Good. Now into the développé, lower lift. Now here we inhale, flex both feet, exhale, extend. So the breath, inhale up, exhale, make sure to keep control. Inhale, reach the heel to the ceiling, and exhale. Fantastic. Reach, lower lift, good. Reach the heel to the ceiling. Good. 2 more times, and reach. She's still smiling, but we've only just got started. This is good. And in 1 last time, reach it up. Lower lift, flex, reach the heel. Okay, now place the heel on the bar. Really push into that heel. Pressing into that heel helps really feel that connection through those hip extensors. Good. Reach. And reach. And reach. Good. Fantastic. Let's go right into the 100. Grab your straps. Both feet off the bar. Breathe in. Move a little bit away from your shoulder rest. Exhale. Drop the chin and come up. And we in 2, 3, 4, 5 and out 2, 3, 4, 10. In 2, 3, 4, 5. Smooth breath now. That in 2, 3, 4, 5 and exhale 2, 4, 5 and in 2, 4, 5 and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's challenge her a little bit and lower 2, 3, 4, 5 in 2, 4, 5. So I'm asking her to go as low as I can see that she's maintaining this. As soon as this starts to pop up, her abs start to pop up, I can see she's losing stability, but she's looking pretty good. Last one, into 5 and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 100. Bend the knees in and reach. Control it down. That's right. Right away, feet go into the straps for the bend and stretch. Still on 2 springs. That's it. And we could do this again parallel, laterally rotated. Okay, what we're going to do here is just exhale, reach away 5 times parallel. And reach, 2, 3. Now at this intermediate level, I'm going to ask her to try to stay neutral the whole time. In the essential level, we went from neutral to the imprint, where we're activating a little more the oblique to bring the pelvis back into that slight posterior tilt. At this point, we're really working to neutral. Fantastic. Let's do